As the Beatles approached their final days, tensions between Paul McCartney and John Lennon began to rise. Creative disagreements surfaced, and their views on how the band should be managed, both artistically and commercially, diverged significantly. These issues escalated after the group's bitter breakup in 1970. The once close songwriting duo exchanged pointed criticisms through songs directed at one another. In December of that year, Paul took legal action in the High Court to formally end the band's legal partnership. The court sided with him in March 1971, further straining his relationships with the other members. Despite this rocky period, Paul eventually reconnected with the rest of the band, including John, before the latter's untimely death in 1980. Their friendship was rekindled in the mid-1970s, even leading to a casual jam session in 1974. 2 years later, there was almost a live reunion when they were offered $3,000 to appear on Saturday Night Live, but it never came to pass. Still, Paul felt a sense of peace in having reconciled with John. According to Far Out magazine, he expressed his gratitude for those final years together, recalling that their last encounter was warm and casual. They even chatted about baking bread. John's murder in 1980 stunned the world, prompting Paul to write one of his most heartfelt songs. Here Today, released on his 1982 album Tug of War, was his tribute to John. The song imagines a conversation that might have taken place between the two had John survived, in which Paul expresses a desire to lay their conflict to rest once and for all. Speaking to the Los Angeles Times in 1982, Paul shared that one of the most difficult aspects of losing someone so close is the regret of not having said everything that needed to be said. The song, he said, was meant to reflect that feeling, questioning whether the falling out between him and John had been necessary. Unfortunately, they had never made it a priority to resolve it directly. They had carried on as though there would always be more time, as was common in the early Beatles days when mortality rarely crossed their minds. Here Today has remained a constant in Paul's live shows, including during the European leg of his Got Back tour in 2024. Yet, in a 2004 interview with The Guardian, he admitted the song can be emotionally overwhelming to perform. At least once during each tour, he finds himself deeply affected while singing it. He described moments when he thought he was holding it together, only to be suddenly reminded of how much John meant to him, and how deeply he still misses him. He recalled one performance in particular, during the tour's opening show in Gijón, Spain. Paul improvised a repeated line, "I love you," which felt right in the moment. But as he approached the final verse, he found himself overcome with emotion and momentarily unable to continue. In the same interview, Paul shared the real-life memory behind the lines, "What about the night we cried because there wasn't any reason left to keep it all inside." The lyrics refer to a night in 1964 in Key West. A hurricane had forced the band to delay a flight to Jacksonville, Florida, leaving them with nothing to do but drink. Paul recalled drinking too much and ending up sick, followed by a late-night emotional exchange. He and John had stayed up far too late, got extremely drunk, and ended up in tears, expressing their deep affection for one another, something they had never openly acknowledged before.